Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Practical Applications of Critical Discourse Analysis, CDA, the intricate tapestry of society, woven with threads of language, unveils the profound influence of discourse in shaping the contours of media and communication, politics, education, and the pursuit of social justice. Critical Discourse Analysis, CDA, offers a powerful lens through which to examine these domains, revealing the nuanced interplay between language, power, and ideology. Through detailed analysis of news discourse, advertising, political rhetoric, educational materials, and activist communication, CDA illuminates how discourse constructs social realities, influences public opinion, and perpetuates or challenges power dynamics. This exploration not only enhances our understanding of discourse's pivotal role across various societal spheres but also underscores the critical importance of reflexivity, ethical consideration, and methodological rigor in discourse analysis. 1. Media and communication. Critical Discourse Analysis, CDA, offers a potent analytical framework for dissecting the complexities of media and communication. By applying a CDA lens to news, advertising, and social media, researchers can unveil the intricate ways in which language, power, and ideology are interwoven in media texts and practices. This approach illuminates how media discourse constructs social realities, influences public opinion, and reproduces or challenges power dynamics and ideological positions. Media and communication through a CDA lens. Analyzing news discourse. Objective: to uncover how news media represent social issues, events, and groups, and to explore the ideological underpinnings of these representations. Approach: a CDA approach to analyzing news discourse may involve examining the linguistic choices in news reports, such as the use of specific adjectives, nouns, or passive versus active constructions, to identify framing strategies that position subjects in particular ways. For example, the representation of migrants in news media can be critically analyzed to understand how language contributes to constructing them as either victims or threats. Implications. This analysis can reveal the subtle ways in which news media perpetuate certain worldviews and ideologies, potentially influencing public perceptions and attitudes toward key social issues. Dissecting advertising discourse. Objective: to analyze how advertisements use language and visual elements to construct desires, identities, and consumer norms. Approach: applying CDA to advertising involves scrutinizing the semiotic resources, words, images, sounds, and their interplay, used in ads to appeal to consumers. This may include analyzing the portrayal of gender, lifestyle, and consumer ideals, and how these portrayals reflect and reinforce societal norms and values. Implications. Such analyses can shed light on the role of advertising in shaping cultural norms and consumer identities, highlighting the commercial discourse's power in defining societal notions of success, beauty, and happiness. Exploring social media discourse. Objective: to explore how social media platforms facilitate the construction and negotiation of identities, communities, and power relations. Approach: CDA of social media discourse can examine user-generated content, interaction patterns, and the platform's structural features that guide communication. This might involve analyzing the discourse in online forums, comment sections, and user posts to understand how social identities and group dynamics are articulated and contested in digital spaces. Implications. This analysis can provide insights into the democratizing potential of social media as spaces for alternative discourses, while also considering how these platforms may reproduce existing power inequalities, echo chambers, and forms of online harassment or exclusion. The practical applications of CDA in media and communication research offer profound insights into the role of media discourse in society. By critically analyzing news, advertising, and social media through a CDA lens, researchers can uncover the deeper meanings, ideologies, and power relations that underlie media texts and practices. This not only enhances our understanding of media discourse's impact on society but also empowers media consumers by illuminating the ways in which language and imagery shape perceptions, identities, and social relations. Through such critical engagement, CDA contributes to a more informed and reflective media landscape. 2. Political discourse. Critical discourse analysis, CDA, is particularly adept at uncovering the nuanced ways in which political discourse shapes public opinion, policy formation, and the broader socio-political landscape. By examining the language used by politicians and policymakers, CDA provides insights into how linguistic choices can influence, manipulate, and mobilize public sentiment and political ideologies. Political discourse through a CDA lens. Framing and agenda setting. Objective: to analyze how politicians frame issues, events, and policies to shape public perception and agenda. Approach: CDA investigates the strategic use of framing in political discourse, examining how certain aspects of an issue are emphasized or downplayed to align with or promote specific political agendas. This includes analyzing speech patterns, rhetorical strategies, and the use of metaphor and euphemism to frame political issues in a particular light. Implications: understanding framing and agenda-setting mechanisms reveals how political discourse can influence public opinion and priorities, guiding the public's attention to specific issues while obscuring others. Constructing identities and relationships. Objective: to explore how political discourse constructs national, group, and individual identities, as well as relationships between different groups, e.g., us versus them dynamics. Approach: applying CDA to political discourse involves examining how language constructs identities and the relationships between in-groups and out-groups. This includes scrutinizing how politicians articulate notions of national identity, citizenship, and belonging, as well as how they demarcate and characterize others. Implications: this analysis can reveal the ways in which political discourse contributes to social cohesion or division, fostering solidarity within groups while potentially marginalizing or stigmatizing others. Legitimation and delegitimation. Objective: to analyze how political discourse seeks to legitimize certain policies, practices, or power structures, and delegitimize others. Approach: CDA focuses on the strategies used by politicians to justify or challenge the legitimacy of certain actions, policies, or authority. This involves examining the use of moral evaluations, authority claims, and rationalizations in political discourse. Implications: such analyses can provide insights into the mechanisms of power maintenance and contestation within the political sphere, highlighting how discourse is used to garner support or resistance for political actions and ideologies. The application of CDA to political discourse offers valuable perspectives on how language functions as a tool for political action and influence. By critically analyzing the ways in which politicians use language to frame issues, construct identities, and legitimize their agendas, CDA illuminates the profound impact of political discourse on public opinion, social dynamics, and policy outcomes. This analytical lens not only enhances our understanding of political communication but also empowers citizens to critically engage with political discourse, fostering a more informed and active public sphere. Through its insights into the interplay between language, power, and politics, CDA contributes to the broader endeavor of promoting transparency, accountability, and equity in the political domain. 3. Education and pedagogy. Critical Discourse Analysis, CDA, offers a powerful lens through which to explore the realm of education and pedagogy, shedding light on how educational texts, policies, and practices are imbued with ideologies and power dynamics. By applying CDA to the analysis of curricula, textbooks, policy documents, and classroom interactions, researchers can uncover the often subtle ways in which knowledge, authority, and identity are constructed and contested within educational settings. This analytical approach reveals how education serves not only as a site for learning and development but also as a space where social inequalities may be reproduced or challenged. Education and pedagogy through a CDA lens. Analysis of educational texts. Objective: to examine how textbooks and other educational materials construct knowledge, identities, and values, and to explore the ideologies underlying these constructions. Approach. CDA involves a close analysis of the language used in educational texts, including the selection of topics, the representation of historical and social issues, and the portrayal of different groups. This analysis can reveal how certain perspectives are privileged while others are marginalized, and how texts contribute to the shaping of students' worldviews. Implications. Understanding the ideological underpinnings of educational materials can inform more inclusive and critical pedagogical practices, ensuring that education fosters critical thinking, diversity, and equity. Scrutinizing educational policies. Objective. To analyze the discourse of educational policies to uncover the underlying assumptions, values, and power relations they embody. Approach. Applying CDA to policy documents involves examining how policies frame educational goals, priorities, and practices, and how they address issues of inequality, diversity, and inclusion. This includes analyzing the use of specific terminologies, rhetorical strategies, and the articulation of problems and solutions within policy discourse. Implications. This analysis can highlight the ways in which policies may perpetuate or challenge social inequalities, influencing educational access, outcomes, and experiences for different student groups. Exploring classroom discourse. Objective. To investigate the dynamics of classroom discourse, including teacher-student interactions and the negotiation of meaning and authority in educational settings. Approach. CDA of classroom discourse focuses on how language is used in teaching and learning processes, examining patterns of communication, participation, and evaluation. This can involve analyzing teacher questions, feedback, and the allocation of speaking turns, as well as how students engage with each other and with educational content. Implications. Analyzing classroom discourse can provide insights into the enactment of pedagogical practices, highlighting opportunities for promoting more democratic, participatory, and empowering educational experiences. The practical application of CDA in the field of education and pedagogy uncovers the deep-seated ideologies and power dynamics embedded within educational discourses and practices. By critically examining educational texts, policies, and classroom discourse, CDA contributes to a more nuanced understanding of how education both reflects and shapes societal norms, values, and power structures. Importantly, this approach advocates for pedagogical practices that are more reflective, inclusive, and equitable, emphasizing the role of education in fostering critical consciousness and social transformation. Through its insights, CDA provides valuable guidance for educators, policymakers, and researchers in their efforts to create educational environments that are conducive to learning, critical engagement, and social justice. 4. Social justice and activism. Critical Discourse Analysis, CDA, serves as a powerful tool in the field of social justice and activism, providing a rigorous framework for uncovering and challenging the discursive practices that underpin social inequalities. By dissecting the ways in which language is used to construct, perpetuate, and legitimize forms of discrimination and oppression, CDA equips activists and social justice advocates with insights into the mechanisms of power embedded within discourse. This analytical approach not only highlights the role of language in shaping social realities but also offers pathways for resistance and change. Social justice and activism through a CDA lens. Exposing discriminatory discourses. Objective. To identify and analyze discourses that contribute to the marginalization, stigmatization, or discrimination of specific groups based on race, gender, sexuality, class, disability, or other social categories. Approach. CDA involves examining a wide range of texts, including media representations, political rhetoric, institutional documents, and everyday language, to reveal how discriminatory ideologies are reproduced and contested. This analysis pays close attention to the linguistic strategies used to frame social issues, construct identities, and delineate in-group-out-group boundaries. Implications. By exposing the discursive roots of discrimination, CDA can inform advocacy strategies aimed at countering prejudiced narratives and promoting more inclusive and equitable representations. Analyzing discourses of power and resistance. Objective: to explore how discourses of power and resistance manifest within social movements, public protests, and activist communities. Approach: applying CDA to the study of social movements involves analyzing speeches, manifestos, social media campaigns, and other forms of activist communication. This includes investigating how activists use language to mobilize support, articulate demands, and challenge dominant power structures. Implications: this analysis can illuminate the discursive strategies that are effective in galvanizing public support and enacting social change, providing valuable lessons for future activism. Advocating for policy change. Objective: to critique and influence public policy by highlighting the ideological assumptions and power relations that underlie policy discourse. Approach: CDA of policy documents and public policy debates can uncover how specific policies are justified, the interests they serve, and their potential impacts on marginalized communities. This includes examining the framing of policy issues, the representation of affected groups, and the articulation of policy solutions. Implications: through critical analysis of policy discourse, activists and advocates can challenge unjust policies and advocate for alternatives that are more just, equitable, and responsive to the needs of diverse populations. The application of critical discourse analysis to social justice and activism offers a potent means of interrogating and contesting the discursive dimensions of social inequality. By unraveling the complex ways in which language contributes to the construction of social hierarchies, CDA empowers activists, advocates, and scholars to challenge oppressive discourses and advocate for meaningful change. Through its commitment to linking analysis with action, CDA underscores the centrality of discourse in both maintaining and dismantling systems of power, providing a critical foundation for efforts aimed at achieving social justice and equity. Conclusion: navigating the multifaceted landscape of critical discourse analysis, from the realms of media and communication to the corridors of political discourse, the classrooms of education, and the arenas of social justice and activism, reveals the indelible mark of language in sculpting societal dynamics. CDA, with its methodological precision and ethical acuity, dissects the layers of discourse to uncover the ideological currents that flow beneath, shaping perceptions, identities, and power relations. By critically examining how discourse operates within news media, advertising, political speeches, educational practices, and activist movements, CDA provides invaluable insights into the mechanisms of social construction and the potential pathways for transformative change. This analytical journey underscores the indispensable role of language as both a mirror reflecting societal norms and a hammer capable of reshaping the social fabric. Through its comprehensive analysis of discourse across diverse contexts, CDA contributes to a deeper understanding of the complexities of social interaction and the critical role of language in advancing equity, understanding, and justice in society.